Hello and welcome back to this new video of mine. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I don't know how this angle is. Please let me know in the comments down below if you like this. If you haven't been on my channel already, welcome. And also I wanted to say welcome to the family because our family has been growing a lot the past few weeks and I'm so excited to have you here and I'm so happy that you joined this positive place here on the internet. I made myself a coffee as always and I don't know if you can tell, I had an attempt at latte art. I don't have to show it to you because that's exactly the reason why it was an attempt and why I'm not a barista. I think that says everything. I love my coffee but I cannot make latte art. By the way, not even taking a sip right now, but I'm wearing this hoodie today. It's very hot outside. I'm suffering for you guys, okay? It's fall. It's fall vibes. I wanted this video to be fall, so you're welcome. I hope you get yourself a beverage as well, or drink, or a beverage and a drink are the same thing. Or a snack, whatever you prefer, because this is gonna be a long video. We're gonna talk about what I read in October and my November TBR. Let's get cozy, let's get comfortable, get your nice cozy sweater on, and let's go. I made something different today. This is actually really good. Okay, wow. I chose to make black coffee and I added my pumpkin spice creamer, but I also frothed it with oat milk and I put cinnamon on top. I'm impressed. I read 6 books this month. I know these are only 4 because I read 2 ebooks. So let's get right into it. The first one you already saw. It's Mockingjay. It's actually the first one of... I really cannot talk today. What is happening? It's actually the last one of the series. So I finished the Hunger Games trilogy now, which I have to say I'm very happy about. I'm not gonna go too much into depth into this one because there's a reading vlog coming up soon. I'm already editing it, so it should be up either this week. No, you're getting this video on Sunday, so it should be up either next week or the week after. Yeah, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe because what I recently saw is that 94% of you watching right now are not subscribed to this channel yet. But make sure to change that right now and not miss out on any new uploads, and like and comment so that I know, you know, just so that I know. I believe I gave this one 3 or 3.5 stars. I wrote down here 3.5, but I mean on Goodreads I cannot give halves. So on Goodreads I gave it 3 stars. I expected more. I wish I would have loved the series more. It started off so strong and then it went downhill a little. I just want to elaborate more on that in my reading vlog because it was still fun. It's a dystopian fantasy. I'm pretty sure you've heard of Hunger Games by now. I mean, it's a cultural happening and moment at this point, I guess. There's literally no spies in this one, so if you're afraid of spies, this is young adult, you can definitely read this without any worries. And I think you can read this if you're like 14 and above, maybe 15. I wouldn't say you can read this when you're 12 years old because it is pretty violent. But I read this, as I said, I'm gonna go more into depth in a different video. The next book I read, which I finally have to give back to the library, is The Bodyguard by Catherine Santer. First of all, I kind of loved this book. I loved the vibes. I read it in a 24-hour readathon. Gonna link it somewhere here. A lot of books in this video are gonna be from that video as well. In that video I gave it 5 stars. I redeemed myself a little bit. I'm gonna say it's 4.5 because I've had 2 5-star reads this month besides this one, and I was like, I cannot have 3 5-star reads because if I compare the other 2 books, I feel like this was amazing. I loved it a lot, but it's not as high up as the others, so that's why this only got 4.5 stars for me. It's such a cute book. I really can recommend it to you. Like, highly recommend. It's so funny. I mean, you also have my live reactions in my video. I really loved the storyline. It's a fake dating trope. So she's getting hired as his bodyguard, which I already found very interesting because usually gender roles you would expect it to be the other way around. No, but she's hired to be his bodyguard, and so that his parents don't know that he's, or that his family doesn't know that he's potentially in danger, they're pretending that she's his girlfriend. It was just such a cool idea. It was so funny. They had great banter. I loved just everything about this book. It was so cute. I still think about it a lot. Like, it's not that it just left my mind after I read it, but there was just not a lot of depth to me. There were deep topics, but they were just brushed upon, like they were just loosely mentioned. Because in the beginning of the book, in the first chapter already, the book basically starts by saying that her mother died. It is mentioned, like she's dealing with grief here, but it's not a deep book. It's a light and soft and funny read. So I'm not gonna say this is something that's gonna change your life in the sense of it's gonna change the way you view things or something. Definitely not, but it's so entertaining and it's so cute. Definitely 4.5, definitely maybe even 4.75, but it's not quite a 5-star. Just really loved it. I can highly recommend. Really awesome book. I don't know why I slapped it just now. It's a bit weird, huh? I love this coffee a lot. I really did well. There's just nothing better than a good fresh cup of coffee that you made yourself and that you actually enjoy. I'm thinking how we should spice things up because I don't want to talk about my 5-star reads yet. Let's talk about these hollow vows, shall we? I'm actually gonna pull it up on my tablet because that's where I read it. The story, I cannot. Okay, so this is the book. It's written by Lexi Ryan. It actually has a lot of good reviews on the app now that I see it. Let me tell you what it's about first. So our main character, which I really suck at names, I really cannot remember names. For the sake of me, I don't know. But wait, I also put it in my journal, so I'm gonna look it up in my journal right now. These Hollow Vows. Okay, here we go. It is romantasy. I read it as an ebook. It's the first of a duology. Now we're getting somewhere. This is good. This is great. Okay, our protagonist is called Bree, and she follows her sister into the realm of the Fae, simply because her sister is being sold to the Elven King, or the Fae King, and he's evil, he's brutal, he's not nice, and she strikes a deal with the Elf King. So the deal implies that she has to steal 3 things from the opposing court. I don't know what the fact that I just read it this month and I forgot what the court is called. Yeah, but from the other court she has to steal 3 things, and if she successfully does that, then she's gonna be able to set her sister free. But there's then this prince from the other court, the elven prince, and she has to pretend that she's actually wanting to marry him. Her feelings are getting in the way. Then there's a love triangle forming with a prince from the other court, and it's just all a bit messy. The story is layered very, very well. I liked it a lot. I liked the writing style because it was really easy to get into. But after a while I just got a bit bored because it was just stagnant and I couldn't always follow her reasoning. I could briefly follow, but it wasn't like a wow book to me. It was a bit slow. I wasn't fully into it. Meh. I was not soaking it up completely. And the thing was, there was love happening, but not enough for my liking. I just love love. I love love in books. So even if I read fantasy, I just want the love to show. And for me it was really hard to figure out who she's gonna choose or what's gonna happen, and she just doesn't know whom she can trust. And I think that's a really interesting trope. Like, I loved it, but it kind of gave me ACOTAR vibes and a bit too much. I already said it in my reading vlog. I felt like it was almost copy-paste, especially the ending. Not everything, of course. If it's Fae related, you can only do so much, and I understand that part. But the way she built up the love triangle just really gave me Riz and his other name, the love triangle vibes from ACOTAR, if that makes any sense. I gave it 3.5 stars. I like the world building. If you are in the mood for a fantasy, it's definitely a good book. It's just not my favorite. Yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. And I would say it's a spice rating of a 2 out of 5. So there are a few scenes, really not a lot, but a few scenes are happening. 1 to 2. Just to be sure, I'm gonna say it's 2, but there's really not a lot of stuff happening. But yeah, maybe it's because I read it as an ebook, but the thing is I haven't read good ebooks yet on my tablet. Maybe that creates a bit of a bias, perhaps. Also, please let me know in the comments down below, what is your wrap up for this month? What did you read? I want to know. I want to hear all about it. Let's just have a cute little book talk. I would love that. I'm just gonna wrap up now the books that I showed in my 24-hour readathon, because you already saw those, you already heard a brief review on those. I don't want to bore you with them, but the last book I have here, the fridge again. I cannot. Okay, the fridge calmed down now. I was saying that I read Beach Read, which was one of my favorite books this month, this year. One of my all-time favorites, actually. Not gonna lie. This is a 5-star read for me, as I already said in my reading vlog. I would say spice is 2 to 2.5. It's not that spicy. Like, there are not a lot of scenes, but there is 1, maybe 2 scenes where there's stuff happening, just so you know. But I wouldn't say it's a necessarily spicy book. I mean, it's not the main premise here. So it's about Gus / Augustus, I don't know how to pronounce his name, and January. I don't know, just so beautiful. So they're both writers. She moves there over the summer, I believe. I think it was over the summer. So they're neighboring writers. Wow. Now I got it. And they're starting a bet because they are gonna change genres. So she's more the love story type of writer. She just loves writing love stories. She loves writing romance books. He's more into writing darker books that are more heavy, and he does a lot of heavy research on them as well. They're switching genres, and whoever gets published first wins the bet. And it's just so interesting. I just love the premise of the book, and that they slowly start to get to know each other. There's a lot of dealing with grief as well, which I found pretty heavy. But there were a lot of beautiful quotes in this book. It was just overall so beautiful. I feel like it's not necessarily a summer read, even though it says beach read. I don't know if that makes sense, but I would say it's even more of a fall book, perhaps. Yeah, there were just so many beautiful quotes. I mean, oh, I hit myself. Oh my gosh. You can tell I annotated a lot. One of my favorite quotes I have in here, I'm gonna read it to you now. It's just so cute. When the world felt dark and scary, love could whisk you off to go dancing. Laughter could take some of the pain away. Beauty could punch holes in your fear. I decided then that my life would be full of all three. Emily Henry's writing is just like nothing else. It's just so poetic, it's just so touching, and I feel like I just got a lot from this book as well. Great memories connected to this book now. I just really loved it. I can highly recommend it if you like Emily Henry, but I've also heard a lot of people actually not enjoying it. I mean, of course, everyone's taste is different. For me, personally, with Emily Henry books, you cannot really go wrong because they're just very well written, very mindful as well. And before we dive into my other 5-star read of the month, I want to talk to you about a book that just surprised me in many multiple ways. I read this month The Ex-Hex, and if you've seen my fall vlog that I recently uploaded, I really wanted to read this book. I was so curious, and I read it as an ebook now. If I tell you, all my expectations were just shattered. I don't know, I really expected something else from this book. I'm gonna pull up the main premise. It's a very fun read, it's an easy read. So our main protagonist, basically, Vivi is her name. I just recently read it, so I still remember. Oh, I don't remember his name. Here we go again. Ryan? No, that's not his name. Let me look it up. Oh, I suck with names in real life and with books. Always. Goodreads, come on, give me something.
The level of unprofessionalism, far too much.
I mean, on Goodreads it has 3.5 stars, and I start to trust Goodreads a lot. I start to agree with Goodreads a lot, so... It is Vivi and Riz. Did I say that? No, I said Ryan, I think. Almost. Vivi and Riz is her ex. They have a past, and she curses him accidentally. And it starts off with saying never mix vodka and witchcraft, which I found very entertaining. I found it very funny, but that was about the only funny thing. It's a decent book. I would say if you're in the mood for a fall book, you can definitely read it. Okay, but like, let's get back to the premise of the book. So she's cursing her ex, and then he comes back into town 9 years later. They start seeing each other again, and suddenly everything is going wrong. And everything is going the other way, and the curse is actually coming through in the most horrible way. And it's actually entertaining the way it's written and what the author came up with. So the fantasy aspects of everything, sometimes they didn't really make sense to me, but that's fine. I could just brush over that. But it was just so packed with cliches, and I don't mind any cliches. I love cliches. It was just sometimes a bit too much, but the main issue I've had with this, and I usually don't mind it at all, but with this I was just so confused. So I said it has 3 out of 5 spice ratings. I think it's maybe even a bit more. It's maybe 3.5, because literally I wrote down in my notes on Notion, I was like, why is there so much spice? And literally like 10 question marks. I'm just confused. And then I saw a Goodreads review yesterday. Okay, let me read this to you. The author described it as hocus pocus, but they fuck, and I've never wanted anything more. It makes sense now. Everything makes sense now. I just didn't know. So I went into this thinking it's a cute fall read, and suddenly they're having so much sex. And I was like, what is going on here? Why is there so much spice in this? I didn't get it. I really didn't understand. If I look at the cover, you see it probably right here right now. It doesn't give me anything sexy. I don't think of anything erotic, like not at all. And also the thing was, towards the end you could tell that they were actually growing attached to each other, but especially the first 2/3 of the book, the main connection they were having was sexual tension and physical attraction, and that is for me something that I don't mind. He was just like, oh, she's so beautiful, oh, she's so hot, oh, I didn't know polka dots are sexy. I was like, I know you have a past, but like that was 9 years ago, you know, chill. And then later on that changed a bit, but there was just so much of this that I was like, why are they constantly horny? So for me, it didn't make sense because I just wanted a cute fall romance. I wanted something funny and loose and not totally overly sexy. I didn't expect that. I liked the fantasy aspects. It still gave me fall vibes, definitely. But I had so much higher hopes for this one. Literally, why? I mean, if any of you read this book, please let me know if you enjoyed it and if I'm just maybe too strict right now. But if I compare to the other books I read this month, this just doesn't compare at all. It doesn't need to be any sexual tension in a book in order for it to be good. I just crave those butterflies, and this book didn't give me butterflies. I just thought they were like overly horny teenagers all the time. So hence why it only got 3 stars. I wish it would have gotten more, but it was an easy read though. It was a quick read, like you can just fly through this in a few days, no worries. Is it gonna be a book that's gonna stick with you for the rest of your life? Probably not. But talking about a book that's gonna brush you off your feet and gonna leave you just dreamy and whatever, just happy, butterflies in your stomach, it's definitely The 7 Year Slip. I gotta say I was afraid of starting this book because I've heard so many good reviews about it. It's playing in New York. It's a magical apartment that travels 7 years back in time, or 4, depends. Only the apartment travels in time. So Clementine inherits the apartment of her aunt. She recently died. Suddenly the apartment travels 7 years back in time, and she realizes that everything her aunt always told her is actually true, and that it wasn't just fantasy stuff coming out of her mouth. And suddenly she meets someone there in her apartment that was living there 7 years ago, and they build a connection. I started reading this and I read it in 2 days, and I knew already from the start how this would go. I knew what the author did. I could see all the strings being attached, like I wasn't surprised by anything, to be honest. It was also playing a lot with the cliches, but here it was done well. In the other book, not so much. But here I didn't mind the cliches. I was like, okay, I can predict what's gonna happen, but that doesn't matter because it's gonna make me happy. You know, I didn't mind. But if I tell you, the writing style and the messaging behind everything was just so beautiful. We just have to have a little chat about this because I'm gonna just pull up a few pages and I'm just gonna quote. Can you see this? I put so many quotes. I'm just gonna read a few to you in a second. But yeah, I would say Spice was maybe a 2 out of 5 rating. Wasn't too much, was just perfectly the right amount. I don't mind spice in books. As I said, I don't mind it, but here was just perfect. Wasn't a lot, just cute. And when I was book journaling yesterday, I just read through everything again, like through all the things I highlighted and annotated, and I was like, it's so good. It's so good. It just leaves me with butterflies, it leaves me with happy feelings. I loved the different characters in this one. Okay, let me read a few to you. They're just so beautiful. I loved how a book, a story, a set of words in a sentence organized in the exact right order made you miss places you've never visited and people you've never met. Here also, it just makes me so happy. Oh my god. His grin turned into a smile. So charming, like he had 100 secrets he couldn't wait to tell me. You cannot tell me that Ewan is not the perfect book boyfriend. He's just the cutest. Okay, next one. The first one that I annotated. Very first one. She also said to keep your passport renewed, to pair red wines with meats and whites with everything else, to find work that is fulfilling to your heart as well as your head, to never forget to fall in love whenever you can find it, because love is nothing if not a matter of timing, and to chase the moon. So cute. I cannot. I could like literally sit here for hours just reading through this again. She always said dancing in the rain made you live longer. I love this. I love this, really. So as I said, I was really afraid because it's more coming of age, romance, this type of stuff. I don't mind it. Maybe I just found a new genre for me that I didn't know I loved as much. I mean, the cover did not necessarily speak to me, so I just put it off for a longer time. But it's one of my favorites. I could just hug this book and just read it every day for the rest of my life. It's just beautiful. I don't know why this just became so dramatic, but I really loved it. Now that we have this out of the way, it's also starting to get a bit darker outside, so we really have to wrap this video up. But let's talk about my TBR of this month, of next month. My gosh, of November. November already! Oh my god. Isn't this crazy that the year is really almost over? I mean, I said it in a few videos already, but it's really hitting me. And what I decided upon is that I'm not gonna talk about my ebook TBR because ebooks I can just always get at any given point in time. So I plan on reading a few other books, but I'm not gonna tell you about them. I'm just gonna surprise you with those. I'm just gonna talk about my physical TBR of the books I have physically here right now and the ebooks we can discuss in the wrap up then. I think that makes more sense. So the first one is Chase Me. I bought it a few weeks ago. Actually, I showed it to you in my book haul as well. It's a love story I know nothing about. Maybe I'm gonna read this to you now so that we all know now what it's about, because every time I show it to you I cannot tell you what it's about because I literally forgot the trope. So let's just read it together, shall we? Oh, so it's the first in a sexy, hilarious rom-com trilogy. Oh, okay. About 3 broken, beautiful strangers who share an apartment in New York City. I did not know. It sounds cute though. Okay. College dropout Roxy Cumberland moved to New York with dreams of becoming an actress, but her dwindling bank account is quickly putting the kibosh on that fantasy. To make some quick cash, she signs up to perform singing telegrams. Her first customer is a gorgeous, cocky Manhattan trust funder, if she ever laid eyes on one. And what could be more humiliating than singing an ode to his junk, courtesy of his recent one-night stand? Maybe the fact that she's dressed in a giant pink bunny costume. Okay, that's why I bought it. It sounded funny. I remember now. After a night out to celebrate winning his last case, Louis McNally II, my gosh, what a name, isn't prepared for the pounding in his head or the rabbits serenading him from the front door. But the sassy wit and sexy voice of the girl behind the mask intrigue him, and one look at her stunning face, followed by a mind-blowing kiss against his door jamb, leaves Louis wanting more. Roxy doesn't need a spoiled rich guy who's had everything in life handed to him on a Tiffany platter. But there's more to Louis than a sexy surface, and he's determined to make Roxy see it, even if it means chasing her all over New York City. If that doesn't sound cute, I don't know what does. It just sounds funny. It just sounds like a cute read. It's under 300 pages, so definitely a quick read, and I'm just excited. I really don't know, but I'm really in the mood for Christmas books right now. But before I read all the Christmas books, I have to finish reading those books that are on my TBR, so this is definitely gonna happen this month. I'm gonna put it on top of my list. Next, I have Stealing Infinity. I actually need to get this sticker off. I mean, I need to get all my stickers off. That really annoys me. But okay, it's by Alison Noel. It's a time traveling story, and I can also read you the premise of this one, because I also don't know. I'm just so unprepared. I love it. My life goes completely sideways the moment I meet the mysterious Braxton. Sure, he's ridiculously hot, but he's also the reason I've been kicked out of school and recruited into Grey Wolf Academy, a remote island school completely off the grid. I never should have trusted a face so perfect. Is that a red flag? I think so. But the reality of why Grey Wolf wanted me is what truly blows my mind. It's a school for time travelers. Ah, okay, so it's like an academia type of vibe. Tripping, they call it. What? This place is filled with elaborate costumes and rare artifacts, where every move is strategic and the halls are filled with shadows and secrets. Ooh. Here, what you see isn't always what appears, including Braxton, because even though there is an energy connecting us together, the more secrets he keeps from me, the more it feels like something is pulling us apart. Uh-oh. Something that has to do with this place and its darker purpose. It's all part of a guarded, elaborate puzzle of history and time, and I might be one of the missing pieces. Now I have all the time in the world, and yet I can shake the feeling that time is the one thing I'm about to run out of fast. Sounds fun. Sounds interesting. I love a good time traveling story if it's done well. Sounds good, right? I don't know. It's just on my TBR. If I'm gonna read it this month, who knows? I want to though. I'm just gonna quickly brush over a few books that are maybe not gonna be as interesting to you. But my teacher for my selling class, I swear, he's making me go insane. He wants us to read like 6 books over the course of 3 months or 7. And one of them was Atlas Shrugged. I still have it here. It's so big. It's so huge. It has like over 1,000 pages. If I tell you, I did not read it. I could not. I rather read my books that I'm showing you. But he also wants us now in this last month to read 2 other books. First one, Never Lose Again, and Secrets of Power Negotiating. I doubt that there are gonna be summaries of those chapters on the internet, so I'm gonna have to read those. Maybe they're gonna be interesting to you too. If you have a business major or marketing, maybe that's of interest. It's both about selling and negotiating with people, and I don't know, just on my TBR. If it's important for this channel, I doubt it. But it's what I'm gonna read, so I have to show it to you. That was Hunger Games. Amazing. Let me pick it up. Okay, I have to show you something and I'm so excited. My last book on my physical TBR for this month. Throne of the Fallen, but I got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. And right now I'm thinking if I should get the Fairy Loot exclusive as well, because it's just so gorgeous. And I need you to tell me not to do it because I don't want to spend more money, but it's just so gorgeous. I mean, look at this. I had to get it. I don't know, I just had to. So it's a spin-off to the... what was it called? Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy. I loved that trilogy so much. I really loved it. It was so good. What was it called? It was Serving. I was not reading a lot of books, but this one, every time a new book came out, I bought it immediately. So I had to buy this immediately too. I just love this world, you know? Also the maps they're always having in there, but it's huge. I thought it might be about the same size as the other ones, but it's literally almost 600 pages. Bit afraid about that one. But this is about envy, right? Literally buying stuff and not even knowing what it's about. Yeah, envy. So this is about the Prince of Envy, and as I said, it's a spin-off, and his court is, I think, in danger, and he has to... I'm just gonna read it again, because I'm really bad at summarizing things. The Prince of Envy has never claimed to be a saint, but when a cryptic note arrives, signaling the beginning of a deadly game, there we go, that's what it was. He knows it will take more than a hint of sin to win and save his falling demon court. Riddles, hex objects, anonymous players, nothing will stand in his way, though none of his meticulous plans prepare him for her, the frustrating artist who ignites sin like no other. It just sounds so good. It just sounds so amazing, and I love the cover. I'm just so happy I got this. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna love this already. I don't know, I just have high hopes for this. It's gonna look so good to the other books as well. Oh, and why am I hating myself with my books all the time? Rude. They don't love me. They don't love me as much as I love them. So if you haven't already, I'm gonna tell you now, if you haven't already, please make sure to read Kingdom of the Wicked. Even if you're interested in this, just read the other series first because it's just so good. It's like mystery and she's trying to solve her sister's murder. And then it's like the Dark Prince Demon Court. It's just so good. So this is my physical TBR. 5 books, but that's not everything that I want to read. I really have struggles with those. Hallelujah. I definitely want to read more. I just don't know if I'm gonna make that. I almost finished my coffee in the meantime. This was it for today's video. Thank you so much for loving one. Thank you so much for watching. I said it already, but if you haven't, make sure to subscribe to this channel and leave a comment or a thumbs up. It would really mean the world to me. Have a beautiful and blissful day, and I'm gonna see you next week. Bye!